Kelazhur.
Yeah, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside Out ESL, we have the ex-Cranky Duckling himself representing the land of the United States of America as well as Team Super. It is PattyMac.
I gotta tell you, like, I'm glad we held out for these guys.
True. For those who don't know, originally we had all the streams had set out on certain matchups on certain players, and over time some of them wavered in their ability to hold out as long as possible. Specifically, I believe the B stream went for a Laser versus Showtime, as opposed to Scarlet versus Maples. I don't know if they're still in that, if they're mid-series, maybe they even finished that series and they can move on to what they originally planned, I don't know. But yeah, God, it was just so stressful waiting. We didn't know, period, if we could even cast Group Stage 2.
Yeah. If that tech issue ended up staying for much longer, then yeah, we would have pretty much had to hold, basically extend the tournament in a way.
Yeah, and like that's complicated in their own right, because at the end of the day, they're renting the venue for a period of time. They can't have people stay too late and work the venue like into the late hours of the night. That's just sometimes not possible, especially because of like fire risks and stuff like that, like fire safety and security. It would have been disastrous, but thankfully we are back on schedule. We're behind schedule, but we are looking to catch back up.
Yeah, we're making up for finishing ahead of schedule earlier on. That's my copium.
Yeah, I guess so, mate. I guess so. Meanwhile, here we go. We're finally in our series. We're finally casting some goddamn StarCraft. And already, Kelazhur, he did open up with a Reaper first. Gets into the mineral line. Let's see how much damage he can get done, if any, probes.
Yeah, honestly, with a single Reaper, I normally don't expect it to get too much damage done, but PattyMac only has a single Zealot right now for defense. He can micro his heart out, but that Reaper's still gonna get a couple of probe kills, 2 already.
2 already going down, almost a third of the Reaper. He wants it so bad, but he gets zoned away by the rest of the probes. That third probe still alive for the time being, and the Reaper, so far, does get forced back.
Yeah, he does get another probe for his trouble, so maybe even another on top of this.
Oh god, oh, he wants it so badly. Already 3 probes going down. Can he get it? Oh, he gets a 4th!
Ooh. And with that Adept showing out, that is going to be the end of that Reaper harass. But honestly, this is way more damage than a Scouting Reaper should do.
Yeah, it really is a bit of a rough start here for PattyMac already. This isn't game-ending damage, but again, a very nice lead here in the early game for Kelazhur. Meanwhile, back at home, he is not stopping. We have a handful of Marines on the way. Oh my god, we saw a cancel!
Yeah, that was a little bit of a late cancel there, but I'm liking this a bit more for PattyMac.
Yeah.
It's going to be keeping Kelazhur on his toes quite a bit. Kelazhur, that Cyclone he's making, he's going to keep it at home. He's expecting some Oracles coming his way. Yeah. We know that ain't what PattyMac has in store.
It's one of those things where I kind of love it, but that's the second Cyclone because the first one is here across the map. This push is not stopping. Kelazhur got a little bit of momentum early on. Now the boys are being pulled, and mate, PattyMac just doesn't have a lot to defend.
Wow. Just wow, yeah. I did not even realize it was railing a Cyclone across the map already, and this makes perfect sense. As you said, Kelazhur, he got a little bit of a lead with that Reaper, and now he drove it all the way home. We waited 2 hours, and the first game that we get into lasted less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, PattyMac being punished for his gate expand. Not just that, we glossed over it, but he did actually make the Zealot first, which did delay like his later gateway unit, whether it was, I mean, like, the Adept, I should say, just to be safe, because I guess he assumed that he was going to get blocked or something. It was really odd that he went for that first, because it delayed everything else. And we saw that Reaper do an insane amount of damage. Yeah, that was
that was an unfortunate start.
It was an unfortunate game.
We say.
Yeah, it really. Yeah. Oh god, we waited 2 hours, mate. Oh god.
But that was also a bit of an unusual map, shall we say?
Yeah, it is. It was. Like, PattyMac, I appreciate what he was trying to do. I appreciate how fancy he was trying to be as well with the cancel of the Stargate to transition into a Twilight Council instead. Unfortunately, we never got to see the payoff for that because of the hyper-aggressiveness of Kelazhur just not really caring about leaving anything at home.
Yeah. And I gotta be honest with you, like, that was fully what I was expecting Kelazhur to do once he saw it at Stargate, but Kelazhur. And I'm sure that's what PattyMac
Yeah.
was expecting Kelazhur to do as well. That's why he
Yeah.
felt confident enough to cancel that Stargate and switch it to the Twilight Council. But Kelazhur, he's a man of no fear. He is a bloodlusted player. He smells a little bit of an opening. He's gonna drive it home full force.
Yeah, exactly. A very strong start here, a very strong beginning here for Kelazhur in this series, and we'll see if he can keep it up as we get into game number 2. Game number 2 is going to be on Moondance for the first time tonight.
Yeah, glad that we're seeing some different maps coming in here. A little bit of variety. As we get into Moondance, where in the bottom right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, we of course have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Norway, representing Brazil, as well as Team Liquid. He is Kelazhur.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Moondance ESL, we have the American Protoss player himself. He is blue, representing Team Super. It is PattyMac.
Hopefully not, being too greedy this game.
Yeah, we will see. As a bit of a reminder, I guess some insider information, PattyMac is from America, but recently he has been living in Italy. A bit of a foreign exchange program. He was able to go to Italy for his studies, for his university studies. But because of that, he hasn't been able to practice as much. He doesn't have his usual PC. He's been playing on a laptop instead. So his confidence is wavering a little bit. Like he's not feeling too hot about himself right now. I believe, though. I believe, as we see a much more standard opener. Second gate on the way as well. Thank God.
I believe that because he was practicing on a laptop, this is him taking his leg weights off.
Oh, yeah.
he was handicapping himself while practicing with that laptop.
Exactly. Now he can fly free. At least that's the hope anyway. So far, again, relatively standard openers. Much less greedy here from PattyMac to begin with. And I guess this is a good opportunity for us to talk a little bit about the map. Moondance is the first time we're featuring it here on the C stream tonight. And it's got a little bit of a pocket.
Yeah. I didn't even notice that looking at the initial layout. So is this the only map of a pocket in this map pool? I believe it is.
Second, Stargazer is the other one.
That's what I was thinking of. Stargazer,
Yeah. Pocket bases.
Stargazer, it's a little bit awkward because it's a pocket, but there is an opening. On Moondance here, it's more of a proper pocket, you know?
Yeah, it's like a pseudo pocket on Stargazer. It's a proper pocket here. But the pocket is also a little bit quirky as well. It's not your standard base as the first Reaper gets in. This time, we didn't waste any time on a Zealot or anything crazy like that. No, the first Adept already comes out. Cybercore was done on time as well. So PattyMac, he doesn't die to the first Reaper. Thank God.
Yeah, he should be able to hold out much stronger this time.
He should. But when it comes to that pocket base, there is only one gas geyser, and I believe there are half the amount of mineral patches here than on a regular base. So it is a safe base, but it isn't a long-lasting base.
Yeah, eventually you're gonna have to get on the map, or you could save it for a late expansion if you really need it. I feel like for Terran, they would be a little bit more. They would have a little bit more of an advantage, if their main base is running low. They can always float that orbital command over to the pocket.
It could happen. Meanwhile, the first two Adepts went across the map, and they only got a single Reaper kill. Not ideal somehow, some way. That Hellion was able to survive, but not for much longer, because two more Adepts do rock up, take down that Hellion. Ooh, and they actually avoid those Reapers. Or the Reapers avoid the Adepts, I should say.
That's the important thing here to take note of for Kelazhur is, in addition to having two Reapers now wreaking havoc on the mineral line, with a Hellion coming in here, his CC also was not delayed.
Exactly, we do see him try to bust on in. The Hellion is going to get taken out, but the body blocking as well on the Adept.
What a neat little trick that you can do there, yeah. Obviously, since Reapers can jump up and down cliffs, Kelazhur are able to seek out another cheeky probe kill, gets a full scout in that main base, and once again, he's pretty much in complete control of the situation.
Yeah, the Reapers are still wreaking havoc. They get another probe kill. They could even get a 7th, and that they do. Finally, they're going to be cleaned up, but not before more than dealing enough damage, and also getting a full scout of quickly checking the vision here. But before that happens, these Adepts are still doing some damage, at least forcing no mining or very little mining here at the natural base of Kelazhur.
Yeah, definitely throws a bit of a wrench in the plans of Kelazhur right now. But not for much longer, because he is moving out once again with the Cyclone and Marines.
Oh, but I love the use of the hidden path there. Of the gas geysers, I should say, does break that line of detection. And yo, he dives into the Cyclone!
And he should be able to take it out. That's Kelazhur losing half his firepower, but is it something to really be concerned about? Yes, now that we have 4 Adepts in that main base and only Marines to defend.
Exactly, we didn't really get to talk much about it, but this is a 3 racks opener here from Kelazhur. Very aggressive, very biocentric, but because of this, we don't have any tanks, we don't have any Widow Mines, we don't really have any kind of anchor point here for the army of Kelazhur, and without Stim, these Marines, they're not ideal.
Yeah, they're gonna get out DPS by the Adepts. The Stalkers will outrange them by a lot. A couple of Marauders being thrown down will help to just tank a couple of those shots, but, you know, the damage output of Marauders isn't that high compared to Marines.
Yeah, exactly. Nice stutter stepping though. The Marauder does survive, and because of that, Kelazhur is able to trade so as efficiently as possible with what he has, but still loses 8 more SCVs. These Stalkers can still abuse the Marines, and they target down the Marauder.
Just like that, PattyMac has more than reciprocated damage, but I do fear a little bit for our blue Protoss player, you know. He's kind of poking the bear a little bit. He's, I don't think Kelazhur's too tempted to all in at this point, but he is getting a little bit desperate, you know. He has to go across the map and deal some kind of damage.
Yeah, but I think it's okay, like, specifically because this is a 3 racks opener. If we look at the units lost tab, 9 Marines have died and a Marauder. Like, these are so valuable units here for Kelazhur to work with this push, with the Stim timing, with the medevac timing as well. Now, because of the death of all those bio units, like, this follow-up push is just not going to be anywhere near as strong, and PattyMac can afford to be greedy. He's expanding behind this, he's taking a 3rd base, he's now fully saturated. He may have lost a lot of workers earlier, but he has more than made up for that.
Yeah, Blink is about to finish up as well, and that just makes it a little bit more annoying for, that just makes these Stalkers a little bit more annoying here. PattyMac doing what Protoss should be doing in this situation, cutting off reinforcements wherever he can.
Yeah, exactly, he slows down the push. Like, Kelazhur, as soon as the medevacs were done, he wanted to move out across the map, but he just met Blink Stalkers. He's forced to stay at home.
Yeah, I think I said cutting off reinforcements, but then I realized, wait, that's the entire army of Kelazhur.
Yeah.
That's the push. He's preventing the push from doing anything.
Yeah, and this is the push, by the way. I mean, with Sim, there we go. Nice target fire. He does get 2 Stalkers. I mean, again, PattyMac slipping up a little bit there when it comes to his control and allowing that to happen. But with this War Prism, again, Kelazhur has to stay at home if he wants to keep his mineral line alive, what little left there is of it.
Yeah, he doesn't really want to spend gases and whatnot on... Vikings at the moment. He knows that he needs to focus everything on this push, and this push has to deal damage against a ground army.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, speaking of ground army, we did see a Twilight Council opener from PattyMac, so he's going for Blink Stalkers. He's going for a Swarm Toss style. He's not focusing on a Robotic Spay. He's getting a 2nd Forge as well, or I believe that's the 1st Forge. So again, relying on pure gateway units, that can work, but he has to wait a little bit for his gateways to really kick in.
Yeah, you really need to have a really strong production base. You need to have a lot of gateways to be able to pull off a style like this. Which is why there is an opening for the Terran player to just come in before the Protoss player, you know, really gets comfortable economically and in terms of their production as well. That's pretty much the story of every PvP, you know? Their players gotta take out the Protoss player before they're comfortable, you know? But yeah, it's a little bit different depending on what build the Protoss player goes for.
Yeah, exactly. And now the gateways have finished on up here. We should be seeing some more Warpins to help reinforce this army. Robotic Spay is thrown down, so it looks like PattyMac wants to eventually get into some splash damage. But until that happens... Oh, the mine does go off.
Yeah, nice blink away from the mine, though. Only a couple of Zealots will take shots on that. This is some really good kiting coming out from Kelazhur, though. Alongside with concussive shells, he's slowing a lot of the army down, and he forces a lot of Zealots and a couple of Stalkers to tank that entire mine hit.
Yeah, all things considered, Kelazhur honestly traded very well there. Behind this, he's expanding, he's taking the pocket base. Again, not ideal compared to a regular base, but I'm sure he feels like pressured to do so just because it's a little bit more risky to try and expand out on the map right now just because of the state of his army. But now, +1 attack is done, +1 armor on the horizon as well. He's got some libs, he's got Widow Mines.
Yeah, meanwhile, PattyMac, he's only now transitioning to the next phase of his tech. Dark Shrine is on the way. He did finish up that Robo Bay, but he doesn't have Thermal Lance yet. He's only now building his first Colossus. There's a massive window of opportunity for Kelazhur, and he is making full use of it. Mines get land left and right. This Immortal is isolated. The Stalkers were a little bit distracted dealing with that Liberator, but Kelazhur not comfortable enough with his remaining army to continue pushing.
Yeah, I thought he would maybe have a little bit of momentum, but yo, he just catches a Warp Prism. The Prism goes down. I believe the DT has been spotted. We do see that Kelazhur's trying to chase it down as fast as he can, but scans are going to be used here, and there we go. He does find the DT. DT, unfortunately, not really paying for itself, but, you know, it does buy PattyMac a little bit of time, enough time to get his Colossus.
Yeah, enough time to get one Colossus. I'm just looking at the army supply right now, Light, and I'm looking at the position of PattyMac's army. He doesn't really have much of a buffer or a choke point that he can utilize.
He doesn't have much of an army. You were talking about the kiting earlier. Specifically about that kiting, there was some really nice target fire. Kelazhur, he was just shutting down those Stalkers left and right. The Stalker count was never able to get really high enough and survive the early game, and now he just dives on top of the Colossus.
Ooh, immediately takes it out. One more Colossus is going to get out, but yeah, at this point, the Gateway army has pretty much been dealt with. No, it pops up on the wrong side!
So exposed, it goes down immediately. PattyMac is trying his hardest to force all this back, and he's going to get a couple of medevacs for his troubles, but as you were saying, he lost so much in the process. 2 Colossi went down. He survives, but he was forced to even cancel that next eye. Just quickly checking, it was a cancel, not a kill.
Yeah, that's something, I suppose. But yeah, we're definitely at a position right now with Kelazhur. He has bled out less than PattyMac, and also he can afford to bleed out a lot more than PattyMac can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, PattyMac, he's still struggling to get a 4th base up and running. He needs one desperately. He may just be forced to take the pocket, to be honest. He doesn't want to, but he may have to. Meanwhile, the army does rotate around. Shield battery goes down. There's going to be no overcharge for this fight.
Yeah, there are quite a number of Stalkers here, but Kelazhur about to have the upgrade advantage. He has the Marauder advantage, and it will be able to tear through the armor of Stalkers real quick. Not enough Zealots here to really provide enough of a buffer. The Colossus is now out with Thermal Lance.
Yeah, and with the Colossus, looks like maybe he's going to be able to survive. Kelazhur is trying to dive on top of it. It looks like he will. Oh my god.
For a quick second there, I thought maybe Kelazhur tunnel visioned a bit, but nope. He knew exactly what he needed to do. GG is called. Kelazhur will take that series 2-0, and we'll move on to the decider match.